Hello, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, are WWE finally getting the message following WWE Raw's record low rating? And is Vince McMahon about to shake things up? We're going to tell you.
Plus, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt at this weekend's TLC pay-per-view has been given a mad stipulation.
And a WWE legend is shooting on AEW's Britt Baker on Twitter.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Andy Murray.
And this is the news.
Right, let's kick things off with this Raw stuff. We spoke about this quite extensively on Wednesday morning after the ratings had come out. The record low viewership, record low 18 to 49 demographic, losing to AEW Dynamite the previous week. This week, the AEW numbers were obviously back to normal. All kinds of stuff. We had a follow-up report from WrestleVotes stating that reactionary decisions may be made as a result of all this. But we got some more stuff here today. Things have progressively developed as we've gotten through the week. And it looks like Vince McMahon could be on the verge of shaking things up on Raw as a result of what happened. So this report comes to us from Paul Davis of WrestlingNews.co. Basically said that WWE Chairman and CEO is looking for ideas outside the box in order to shake things up after TLC, which goes down this weekend. So Davis's sources claim that much of the material for this week's Raw was written with Vince's tastes in mind, though the chief, the WWE boss, is putting the blame on his creative team.
Of course.
Hey boss, here's a thing you like. I don't want that, pal. Mental. The show ended being a complete ratings disaster, of course, as we've mentioned there, even though it was tailored specifically to Vince, or maybe that's the reason. And furthermore, WWE personnel are increasingly walking on eggshells backstage. As a result of this, officials fear that there could be job cuts within the creative team if things don't improve. And there's also plans of shredding up a bunch of stuff they've already got in mind for the Royal Rumble and starting again. But the core of this would be, of course, changing Raw, recalibrating things, tightening a few nuts and bolts, changing a few storylines, maybe thinking about new ways to do things. It's always kind of mental to me that we have this situation on Raw and the show is panned every week, right? You'll always have, WWE hardcore fans who are going to enjoy it more than a lot of people. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's subjective. If you like, the Miz reading nursery rhymes and stuff, fair play, whatever. That sounds like a burial, but believe me, it's not. But then you have SmackDown, which is generally very well received, right? But they're written by the same dudes, Vince McMahon has the final say on everything, and Bruce Pritchard is his, effectively, right-hand man. So how the hell do you get from a situation where one is like a 3 out of 10 to the other is like a 7 or an 8 every week? It doesn't make any goddamn sense. But Adam Wilborn, what is your level of faith in Vince McMahon shaking things up?
Well, it's almost like catering to a party of one for the past 2 decades. It's been bad for business. Look, I'm excited and also completely terrified hearing this news, because the thing is, we obviously complain, and there is some element of truth behind it, that they've got this slew of writers who've got no real experience in actual wrestling, and they just know entertainment and blah, blah, blah. But you also do have to kind of feel sorry for them regardless of that fact, because, like you say, whatever they write has to go through the funnel, through the conduit of Vince McMahon. So they could actually be writing some good stuff, but Vince McMahon is just ruining the whole show. He is the thing that is wrong with WWE. My worry along with all this as well, as you say, in terms of ripping things up and starting all over, is they're going to, throw the baby out with the bathwater. I don't want to necessarily stop pushing the people they are. We're not saying, we're not watching because Drew McIntyre is WWE champion. We are enjoying WWE champion Drew McIntyre despite all the bollocks that goes with it on Monday Night Raw. And it's unquestionable these changes have needed to be made for years now, decades even. But it's, as I've said before, rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic if there's no genuine change right up at the top with Vince McMahon. It's not we're pushing the wrong people. It's the whole presentation of it all. And also, what pisses me off is when stories like this come out, and obviously this is, like you say, a development as a result of the record low ratings, but we always get to it around this time of year, right? And it's mind-blowing to me that they go, oh, no, come on, guys, we're going to start trying again now. Yes, there are peaks and lulls within wrestling, but it doesn't mean you should just be just do crap stuff now. it's mind-blowing. And just to continue on from what you said and report on some stuff that Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer has said, apparently people within WWE, let's hope it trickles all the way up to Vince McMahon, are finally getting the message for the complete ratings and viewership collapse. They're apparently stunned by a week that, of course, saw Raw slip below AEW in the 18-49 demo. It's been described as a wake-up call. But as with everything here, you could... I'm not saying they should do this, but you could replace the entire roster, replace the entire creative team, and nothing will change unless Vince McMahon does.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy. It's so easy to just be cynical about these kind of stories, because it's like, well, I trust the reporting, and I do believe, that there's an earnest belief in WWE that, people have been like, oh my God, this is rubbish. We need to fix things up. Whether or not they actually happen is often a different case, because Vince McMahon is Vince McMahon, and we all know his tendencies. The thing with this as well is, like, it was only 2 years ago, at this specific exact time of year, when all of the McMahons got on TV and went, hey, we're listening to you now. You guys are the authority figures, not us, Baron Corbin. Ha! We got rid of that loser as a constable. Now we're going to get better and we're going to be good. And here we are 2 years later, and they're pulling 1.5 million viewers. It's a nut situation. And honestly, I do hope they find a way to figure this out, sort the mess, because I want to wake up on a Tuesday morning early when I watch WWE Raw, and I want to have an earnest, really good time. Yeah. I want to sit there and be popping at 4 a.m, waking up the neighbors going, oh my God, you see that thing AJ did? Man, what about Drew's promo? That was great. I don't want to be sitting here going, yeah, cool, Randy Orton set fire to a guy in a bin who came out dressed as a weird Joker murder clown. Its taste is subjective, obviously, right? Nobody is ever going to enjoy every single thing, but I think it's quite clear from the numbers, they don't lie, that something needs to change, and I sincerely hope it does.
I genuinely cannot remember the last time I woke up and enjoyed an episode of Monday Night Raw. I've enjoyed SmackDown this year a lot.
Good show.
And the thing is, with all these changes we're talking about, it's not going to be perfect overnight or even all the time. Andy and I didn't really like Dynamite this week, but we can see that they're trending in the right direction, and long term we're probably going to get, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page for the world title. It's just such a mess on WWE, and particularly, as you alluded to there, Andy, on Monday Night Raw, which used to be the flagship.
Exactly, but I guess the one cloud or silver lining to this cloud is that TLC's this weekend and AJ versus Drew should be amazing. So,
yes,
a little bit of positivity to close that on. I'm looking forward to the pay-per-view, especially with your next story. But we're going to talk a little bit about Twitter. Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers once again as Alundra Blaze, who's never shy of just emptying her thoughts on social media, is taking pot shots at Britt Baker. So Britt tweeted earlier in the week about, I'm the face of the division, the first woman signed, a role model, Michael Jordan, a dentist, and still don't have an action figure. This is, of course, responding to the AEW action figures releases. Brandy Rhodes has got one. There's a Riho one as well. No Britt Baker, she's not there. Alundra Blaze quote tweeted this and said the following. Well, let's see. I believe you just learned how to tie your boots and got handed your position. It is almost 2021 and women's wrestling is fast tracking, and I'm sure you will have one soon. However, it took me 20 plus years before I received mine. Some people just earn respect differently. So, there's a chance that these people are just working, right? Because they're pro wrestlers, and that's what they do. And Alundra Blaze was on AEW television 4 months ago for the Deadly Draw and all this stuff. But at the same time, Alundra Blaze doesn't give a damn about any of that oftentimes on social media, and will just say what she feels, and it makes her great value on the platform. It's pretty disrespectful to Britt if it's a shoot, for sure. I think Britt's tweet is clearly in character. That's clearly part of the act here, and maybe Alundra's is as well. But Britt Baker's awesome, man. She's the best character, maybe on the whole Dynamite most weeks. She's genuinely this really tremendous paranoid, obnoxious heel. She had a great segment with Thunder Rosa this week, and it was only like a minute long, but the whole thing from start to finish was just perfectly put together. So it's very rich to go, hey, you were just handed your position, as if she hasn't done anything to merit being at the center of the AEW Women's Division. I made a whole video about this. I think she should be the champion for ages. But here we are, Alundra Blaze maybe angling for a match with Britt Baker. 2021 is wild.
Yeah, weird all this. Like you say, if we get a match out of it, good. Britt Baker, like you say, completely in character when she's tweeting. Maybe Alundra is sort of responding to that in kayfabe. I don't really know. It's all a bit baffling to me, but I can only echo what you said there, Andy, in terms of the fact that, yeah, Britt Baker is the best female, I'd say, in AEW.
Yeah, for sure.
Certainly the best female who's not got a world title, had a world title. Like, Hikaru Shida's put on some great matches. Really enjoyed Nyla Rose on that title. Riho, of course. But Britt Baker, I'm just sat there going, when are you going to put the world title on her? Like, It's all well and good having Hikaru Shida being scared of Abaddon. I'm not a big fan of that. But get me to Revolution, where we can crown Britt Baker as women's champion. Yeah. That's what they need to do to really re-establish that women's division at AEW, in my opinion. But yeah, if in the interim we get Britt Baker locked during Alundra Blaze, I suppose I'm kind of here for it. Let's conclude by talking about TLC, of course. As Andy mentioned, it's going down at this weekend. And a lot of us were wondering what was going to happen with Randy Orton and the Fiend Bray Wyatt, because you can't really have a straight-up wrestling match. And it has now been announced by WWE they are going to have a Firefly Inferno match. Obviously, a great deal of history there. No real clarification as to what that is. Some sort of mix between, you would assume, a Firefly Funhouse match and an Inferno match, with the whole fire gimmick being used on Monday Night Raw and Bray Wyatt being set on fire, but the Fiend bursting out of the box that was on fire, sort of thing.
Yep.
I'm worried this is going to be House of Horrors 2, Andy.
Yeah, I mean, there's kind of a lot to I don't really want to go too much into it, because as you viewers know, this stuff is not my SHIT, right? It's not for me. But the Firefly Funhouse match, the original with John Cena, was excellent. So, you know, if it's the same as that and it just has some fire or whatever, I'm here for it. But if it's the House of Horrors, if it's Randy Orton burning down Sister Abigail's grave or whatever that thing was in 2017, if it's setting fire to a bin and the murder clown emerges, I'm probably not going to enjoy it. So, hey, listen, it's subjective. Like I've said like 7 times on this video, if you're into this stuff, fair goddamn play. But I would like to see it be more in line with the Firefly Funhouse than literally anything else these two guys have ever done together.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Fiend has to emerge victorious. Otherwise the character's just dead again. So, yeah, good luck with that, WWE. I'm glad I'm not booking it. That's all I'll say. Let's move on to your Twitter questions, of course. At WhatCulture WWE, if you want to get in touch. This first question today comes from Mr. Surprise Roll-Up.
Nice.
This morning, fellas, do you guys think that Hangman will eventually join Dark Order only to take control of the group from Brody Lee to give the faction a face run? Brody cannot be pleased with how much goofing off Dark Order has been up to. Now, we've talked in the past, of course, about Paige going to the Dark Order, but I never considered this, Andy.
Yeah, this is like the thing with the Dark Order Hangman Page storyline, right? Is that there are so many branching possibilities, and I don't think you can really look at any of them and go, no, that's not going to happen, because the character dynamics are so well established. Like you said, you've got Babyface, Purity, Hangman Page, you've got Silver and Reynolds, the Banter Boys. They're so infectious, they're so much fun. You got Brody Lee off TV at the moment going, why are these guys just dicking around? Come on, we're supposed to beat people up. I think the dynamics are really, really interesting, and that's not something you've always been able to say about the Dark Order from start to finish. So I personally believe that the most likely outcome is that Paige never truly joins the Dark Order. I think he'll flirt with it. I think he'll get very close, and he'll breed within you, the viewer, a sense of anxiety that he's going to do it. But I think at the end, Brody Lee will come back and kick his ass, and we'll have a great singles match. Yes. That's where I think it's going, but I think your idea is good as well.
Yeah, I like it too. I believe it's going to be a whole part of this redemption arc of Hangman Page, leading him to the world title. Maybe even kicking out of the One-Winged Angel. Whisper it. But I don't see them turning into a babyface team, especially because they've got Evil Uno and Stu Grayson and stuff still trying to do the whole, hey, just Rose, you want to become 7? Which is a spot of genius, I have to say, but I don't see them turning babyface officially as much as I love John Silver wearing a little cowboy hat. Michael gives us our second question of the day, saying, how do you feel about the possible idea of AJ Styles beating Drew McIntyre at TLC and having Samoa Joe return at the Rumble to feud with AJ, finally getting his world title he's deserved for so many years now?
The only way I want to see that happen is if we finally at the Royal Rumble get the Wendy Styles in a shark cage match that we've been waiting all this time for, revising that feud. I would love to see Samoa Joe come back in the ring. I miss him greatly. I think he's good at commentary, but I mean, it's Joe. He's such a threatening dude. He's such a good promo. He's everything else. Vince McMahon talking about shaking things up on Raw. This would shake things up on Raw. I think it's a distinct possibility. I would quite like to see AJ leave with the title. I'm going to be honest, I've really enjoyed Drew as world champion. I think he's done a great job. And I don't think there was any point whatsoever in the Randy Orton title reign that broke up Drew's 2 reigns. So I'm not advocating get the belt off Drew, all this stuff. I think he's done a great job. But AJ would certainly freshen things up. And hey, it'd be really cool to see Joe back as well.
Yeah, I'd love to see Joe back in the ring, but I don't really want to see McIntyre drop that title yet, and not to AJ, to Keith Lee, because he's great and you should be pushing him rather than sending him back to the Performance Center. Yeah. And if the whispered rumours of Lee, McIntyre, and Lesnar are true, give me that. That's what I'd like to see. But yeah, if Joe comes back, great. Fine by me as well. Final question today comes from Stuart Easter Taylor, who says, hey guys, hope you're both well. Thank you for keeping me entertained in this crap year. You're welcome, Stuart. Quick question. Who are your best and worst wrestlers of the year? So best wrestler of the year, I did the list for this for our website, and it's an AEW wrestler, so a lot of people are immediately going to go, blah, blah, blah. But I think Jon Moxley is just demonstrably brilliant at everything you need to be a great weekly TV performer, and has been for all the year. Look, the guy's had a few, whiffs here and there. The Jake Hager match I wasn't all that into, and there's probably a couple of other things you could point to as well. But the guy gets you invested, he pulls you in, he draws you in. He's a badass who's cool and charming, but sympathetic at the same time. The character work is excellent. He cuts a brilliant promo every single goddamn week. The high-level matches are tremendous. Really enjoyed the Brody Lee match, the MJF match, a whole host of other ones. I think he had one of, if not the best world title reign in all of pro wrestling in 2020. That's my case for Jon Moxley, man. I just think he's been tremendous. Worst? Bray Wyatt. Oh, you thought I was going to get in trouble yesterday. Yeah, Goldberg. There we go. That's a political answer for everyone. There we go. Don't worry, Andy. I've got the correct answer for the worst wrestler of the year. Best wrestler of the year. McIntyre deserves a mention. Roman Reigns as a heel has been phenomenal. Just leapt up the screen from me. I can't really disagree with Jon Moxley, if I'm perfectly honest. I've loved him in AEW. Yeah, me too. But the worst wrestler of the year, Andy Murray. There's no argument here. It's Gronk. There we go. Let's move on to today's, and finally, from one of the people who probably could consider one of the best wrestlers of the year, Sami Zayn, who's just announced that, yes, there will be the Slammy Awards on December 23rd, but tomorrow night on SmackDown, or should I say tonight, because of the way time works, Adam, he's hosting the first annual Sami Awards. The always honest champion of the people, he said, will present awards that reflect the true will of the people. I love this. I'm here for the Sami Awards, and I thought, Andy, as it is our last news of the year, we could have a bit of fun with the audience. So I want you guys to let us know the winners of the WhatCulture Wrestling Awards. Have some fun with that in the comments section below. And from Andy and myself, as I said, it's our last news video of the year. Thank you for supporting us throughout this year and sending us great Twitter questions and content and stuff, and just sticking with us because, it's been a crap 2020. Here's a 2021, Andy. Yeah, my biggest hope for 2021 is that we don't have to sit here and tell you about horrendous situations, like releasing people in the middle of a pandemic. Hate having to cover stories like that, but hey, it's the job. Hopefully 2021 is a little brighter inside professional wrestling, outside of professional wrestling. And for all of you watching at home, thank you, as always, for letting us have the weirdest, most fun job of all time. Yeah, Andy, I want you to be here and not here. I don't know how it works. I don't know how we've positioned it. Next to me. I miss your musk. That's all I'm saying. Let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Self and the Dudley Boys. previewing SmackDown later on, and a hashtag bloody good quiz on WrestleCulture, of course. You can let us know your thoughts and Twitter questions on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Happy Holidays. Whatever it is you celebrate, it's the last day of Hanukkah today, I believe. Christmas, obviously, on the 25th. Whatever you celebrate, I hope you have a lovely, safe time. Hope you're able to see friends and family that you haven't seen in a long time. If you're not, best of love to all of you. We're done for 2020. See you next year. And thank you once again.
Exactly. Happy holidays. Have a great Christmas break, or next few weeks, basically. We'll be back in the new year. Thanks once again for all your support. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for joining us throughout 2020. Trust me, 2021 will be better. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.